Hello, everyone, and welcome to Asian Viewpoint with Mary Sit. If you hate public speaking, you're not alone. 75% of us have the fear of public speaking. Our guest today is Kit Pang, and he says he could turn you from a terrified speaker to a terrific speaker. Kit founded Boston Speaks in 2016, and since then, he and his team have trained more than 10,000 clients to become influential and confident speakers. Welcome, Kit.
Mary, I'm so excited to be chatting with you and for the folks listening to help them better with their speaking.
Great. Well, can you turn anyone into a better speaker, into a really terrific one? Someone with the clammy palms, the heart, beats racing, and just people who hate it?
I will say after all the individuals that we work with, I'm going to say we're confident, I'm confident, and I want to give you certainty that we can definitely help people get to the next step wherever they are as a speaker.
Okay, so let's say someone's really just not very engaging, sort of this boring monotone, and they basically read their script. How do you snap them out of that into someone like you?
Yeah, well, so okay, no, let me go back a little bit, right?
Okay.
Because there's this notion, like you're saying, some people might be more slowed pace, monotone, but have you ever heard of people that are more calm and spiritual? It can be on YouTube, whoever they are, right?
Right, right.
And they speak in a actually monotone voice. They speak very slow. But when their people listen to them, they say their energy is peaceful, it's calm, it's soothing. So when it comes to our notion of, oh my God, I'm so not as engaging or high energy as other people, we sometimes compare ourselves to, oh, that speaker, I don't have that. But how can we see our own strengths as well? So it really goes back to the mindset of how we see ourselves as speakers before we want to say, oh, I need to be like that everyone else. But basically, to answer your question, Mary, is we first have to address, what is actually wrong with my style? Is everyone saying I'm not engaging because I talk in a slow pace? What if you were to say to the Dalai Lama, Dalai Lama, you speak too slow? What the? What is he gonna say? What is he gonna say? You're not very high energy,
Right,
Dalai Lama. Well, it's a different style, right?
right.
So yeah, so number one is being aware of different styles that we can have and be comfortable with ourselves first.
Okay, you talk about two audiences that you teach people to speak to the internal and the external audience. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so most people, when they come for public speaking training, they ask for how can we learn more skills and practice more so that we can become better as a speaker, talking to the external audience, external meaning the audience that's listening to us. And so if we want to work on that area, most people, what we need to work on is our delivery, which is our body language, our vocal variety, our presence, and our content. How do we say something in a clear, concise manner, so that we can speak better to the external audience? Most people don't know that there's the internal audience that we talk to all of the time, which is ourselves, our mindset. So when we talk to the external audience, that's how do you shift how others feel, think, and act, right? How they think, feel, and act, how the external audience.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk to ourselves, the internal audience is how do we shift how we think, how we feel, how we act. So to become a good speaker overall is knowing how to talk to our mindset, the delivery, and the content, all of those things. So the internal and the external.
What are some tips that you have about delivery?
Sure. So let me give the most, I would say, engaging part people like hand gestures. Okay.
Okay.
If you're listening to this or watching to this, you can visualize it. So when people put their hands in a triangle, just like this, they will appear
Okay.
more confident and look more confident. So as an example, if you were to look at me, hey, Mary, today I want to talk to you about public speaking versus, hey, Mary, today I want to talk to you about public speaking.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, the research has found kids who are blind, when their hands
Mhm.
naturally went into a triangle shape, they felt more confident. So even if people don't see your hands,
Okay.
it will change your vibe as well. One more thing, there's more hand gestures, but there's one other one. If you want to appear and feel more friendly and conversational, you can keep your hand posture, your hand palms facing up, and you gesture towards the audience. You can do this on virtually too.
Uh-huh.
Mary, today I want to talk to you about public speaking. So when you gesture, palms up, towards the audience, your energy is going towards the audience, way more engaging for delivery.
Okay, let's talk about content now. Okay, how can you make that content more convincing and clearer and
Sure. So
concise?
what I always like to give people, so that it's basically answering this question: how does one speak in a clear, convincing, and concise way? And so this is something called the PrEP method, PREP. I use it all of the time. When I use it, people don't know, and when people use it back to me, they ask, "Kit, did you know I was using the PrEP method?" I have no clue at all. So this is what it is. The P stands for point. Your point is your opinion. And then the R stands for reason. You can use the word because you're talking to the head. And then you can use E for example, and then you wrap it back up with the point. So let me give it a quick example of everything.
Okay.
Point, reason, example, point. Okay. Cats are better than dogs because they are less fussy. You can leave them in the house all day long. For example, I had actually my wife come back from CrossFit a long time ago. She said one of the people told her their dog came into their house all muddy, bit their shoe in half, and then left the house all muddy. With cats, you don't have to worry about that. Cats are better than dogs, right? So point, reason, example of the story, and then cats are better than dogs, wrap it back up with the point. That's it.
You have to practice that though to get as good as you are, right? I mean, but people have to like actually sit there and write it out, maybe.
No, well, the more they get used to it, it's kind of like, so impromptu speaking is actually not impromptu speaking if you have different frameworks that you can plug and play in the back of your mind.
You've interviewed more than 200 speaking coaches and experts and psychologists about this topic. What have you learned?
So after interviewing over 200, different speakers and speaking to yourself included, what I've learned is that each and every great speaker knows how to show up as themselves.
Okay.
There's something uniquely about them that's not a copycat of someone else that gives them their particular style. And if you're listening to this is probably not the first time you've heard it. Like all great speakers, from Oprah, Tony Robbins, no one is exactly the same way from another person. So the more you embrace what makes you special and you draw that out, the more that your vibe will attract your tribe.
So be authentic and be yourself. Don't try to be somebody else.
Yes, even though we've heard that a lot of times, this might be something you say to your kids. Well, it's time for you to embrace it when it's moments that counts. And we're talking about high stake moments for most people. When it's high stakes, most people say, "Oh, I can't be vulnerable. I can't be authentic." But when they're comfortable, they're 100% fine. So we're talking to that part of you where it's high stakes. Can you still feel like you are your authentic self?
Can you tell me if there's anything about the Asian culture that makes Asian and Asian Americans be either better or worse or speakers? I mean, what is it about our culture that can sometimes affect the way we do public speaking?
I'll just speak for myself. Growing up, I was born in Hong Kong, came to Boston when I was 6 years old, Asian family. And so when we were sitting around the dinner table, the only thing we would say is eat or eat more, right? And then that's eat or eat more.
Sure, fine. Yeah, sick fun.
Yeah. And then eat more again. And so, when you're growing up, are you surrounding yourself with people who know how to communicate? We're not saying, our parents are bad or anything like that. But if we're growing up with parents or in a community where we don't embrace the creativity side of speaking or just speaking more, then we grow up thinking it's okay to not say anything or be creative, or maybe we don't know how to. So that's how some Asians might be shaped, maybe myself, until we get more into like the American side of things, where some family are like, "Oh, let's talk everything out, let's debate everything."
Right.
So yeah, I would say depending on the family that we have.
And one of the things you're doing, you started something called SpeakStudio. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so SpeakStudio is like a gym, but for your speaking. At the same time, it's like a creative playground. So my dad taught me how to drive in a parking lot, right? I got better, not just because of practice, but because I was able to experiment with the vehicle in the parking lot. So that's what SpeakStudio is. We have classes where you can, definitely learn the competency of speaking, but it's also a place for you to experiment with your speaking as well with other people. That is what's going to give you the boost in improving your speaking. So SpeakStudio is a mix of a gym plus a parking lot scenario.
So you've got a live audience and you practice your speeches in front of that live audience. And is that right?
Yeah. Think of like a gym class in the parking lot, and you can just
And
yeah.
it's you speaking to everybody. So if you had to give just one tip to someone who's just, they can't come to Boston to take your Boston Speaks course, but they have a big speech coming up. What do you say?
Yeah, I will say this. People don't care about how much you know until they know about how much you care. Okay, one of my favorite quotes. So therefore, if you're trying to speak and you're just trying to show how knowledgeable you are, you first have to get through to the audience and show them how much you care by how you speak. That would be the tip that I would give to everyone.
I love that. I've heard that quote before and I love it. It's very good. Well, Kid, thank you so much for speaking with us today. And good luck with your studio speak.
Yeah.
Very
Thank you so
nice.
much, Mary. Pleasure speaking.
If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button below and be sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so. I'm Mary Sitt. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you again in the next video.